Your Steve Jones Show podcast will start shortly. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Brewers Outlet, your beverage supermarket on Reagan Street in Sunbury.
Always a privilege to have any conversation on the air, off the air with Gerry Dulac. Gerry, welcome back. Great to have you with us.
Steve, always good chatting with you, my friend. I hope you're doing well.
Doing very well, and privileged to be working the upcoming season again with a guy that would be no better than a special teams backup in today's NFL. So,
yeah, how about that? I mean, it's one thing for somebody who was in the NFL to say that, which is totally ridiculous. It's even another thing for a columnist to write a story about. Look, because of their size, that doesn't matter. If Jack Ham played today, he would be a bigger body person because that's the way the game is played. And it wouldn't take away from his greatness. The dumbest, most stupid, most inane thing I've ever heard. I
mean, this guy is in the running for the GM job.
Yeah.
And
he may have taken himself out of it with that.
I agree, Gerry. And I know we'll get to golf in a second, but here's the reason why. So let's take the personal part out. How well you know Jack, obviously how well I know Jack. So it's like, so for me, it's like, what? But that tells me he's a combine guy and doesn't know how to evaluate football players. He doesn't know how to evaluate the brain of a player. Jack's brain was as important as his frame.
Well, that's what happened to him in Buffalo, Steve. And with some of the deals and maneuverings he made, I like Doug Whaley personally a great deal. And I'm not going to sit here and cast aspersions on
he's an Upper St. Clair guy.
That's right, but that is also one of the things that player evaluation that got him in trouble, or led to his dismissal in Buffalo. So you can't. I mean, how are you going to measure Jack Ham's anticipation, his intellect, his reaction, his ability to see, what he's looking at and react to it? I mean, come on, it's preposterous.
All right, so now let's flip the page to what we were going to talk about, and that is about the PGA Championship. Justin Thomas has put together back-to-back rounds of 67. He had back-to-back bogeys yesterday at one point. I think it was, I want to say 8 and 9 or 9 and 10, whatever it may be. And he kept his wits about him. What does that tell us about where he is with his game right now?
Yeah, I think we're going to find out a little bit more because, look, I mean, the guy has a Players' Championship and he has a major, so it's hard to say that Justin Thomas isn't a finisher, but he hasn't been able to do it lately, and we haven't. He's only had a couple instances in majors, I think 3 or 4, or this could be the 4th time, where he's been at or had the lead or tied for the lead at some point in the tournament. And so we're going to see now how he does on the weekend. But I will tell you that if he fashions 4 67s, he's put up 2 already. He'll win by 5 or 6 shots if he's able to put 4 67s up on the board. You could see the golf course how difficult it's playing. His 3 under today is the lowest round on the golf course and so far. So yeah, I mean. And he played in the morning when the conditions were a little bit more difficult because of the wind. And we've seen JT be able to manipulate shots, and I think that's one of his great qualities. Despite his putting stats, that's what gets him in trouble. He misses a lot of 5 and 6 foot putts. He's kind of like his buddy Jordan Spieth. We see Spieth doing a ton of that, where he used to be automatic inside 10 feet. Now he's shaky inside 10, 9, 8, even 6 feet. And it's holding him back, not to get away from Justin Thomas. But I don't know how Jordan Spieth won 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago and then finished solo second last week, because he's playing with his C game. He's still playing very cautious, very nervous, and his putter, his secret weapon, hasn't been working. Yet that tells you how talented he is, that he won and finished solo second in his last 2 starts, basically with his C game.
Yeah. Rory McIlroy had his A game yesterday. Now today it's early. I mean, he's still on the front 9. This course in the redesign is a bit wider which means you can take driver out of the bag. What kind of advantage is it when Rory can take the driver out of the bag on a major?
Yeah, well, the funny thing, though, too, Steve, is there's plenty of room to hit the ball, which invites the guys to pull that driver even more. And when you see the crazy distances the ball is going, not just in the air, downwind, downhill, a lot of these holes, the firmness of the fairways. These guys on the first hole were hitting at 380, 390, 403. And so I really like the look of the golf course. I was there in 2001 for the U.S. Open, and the course didn't bowl me over. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was really good. But, what I'm seeing on TV, this golf course looks tremendous. And I think Gil Hanse, when he came in, has done a wonderful job.
Yeah, a couple things I noticed with it. Like, I think Gil Hanse has done a great job of how he utilizes the position of the creek in certain areas, which has really, I think, helped. Like Scotty Scheffler and Rahm both went into the creek on 18 because they hit it too far. Right.
Yeah, and I that's Gil Hanse. He's become the major doctor. He did the redesign here, or refurbish, or renovate, whatever you want to call it. He did it at the Country Club, which is in Brookline, which is where they're headed next. And Steve, he's going to start some work next year at Oakmont to get it prepped for the 2025 U.S. Open. So he seems to be the designer of choice anymore. A number of years ago, it was Reese Jones. He was known as the Open Doctor. Yeah. And I think he's been supplanted here now by Gil Hanse, who just does really, wonderful work.
In fact, if anybody goes down to Pinehurst, it's not number 2 because that's the Bill Coors, Ben Crenshaw, but right. Pinehurst 4 is Gil Hanse.
That's correct.
Everybody tells you it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I played it twice, and it really is. It's really good. Now, in my opinion, it's not number 2, but it's really good, and it has some really nice looks. And there's no question what he did there was a wonderful job. They played the USAM there, I think, like 3 years ago. And number 4 is a real delight as well.
Will Zalatoris is a name that's come up a lot more in the past 15 months. As you watch his game, and he's got himself in a nice position in second at 5 under par. What do you like about his game? The pros and cons of Will Zalatoris.
Well, he's such a good ball striker, Steve, and that's what And so when you get a golf course like this, whereas if you can keep the ball in the fairway, he's such a good iron player, and where you come out at these greens, as you have seen in 2 days. If you come at these greens out of the rough, it's very difficult. You have to guess. You have to play short and hope your ball runs out. But you can't fly the ball on the green out of the rough on most of these holes. And Will Zalatoris is, like I said, he's such a good iron player. And you know what? He's been a big-time player. I think he's played in 9 majors, and in 6 of them he's finished in the top 20. And you see his name pop up on the leaderboard. We saw it at the Masters, and we've seen it before. And, the guy, when the guys out there tell you it's only a matter of time before this guy wins. Look, I know there's a lot of talented players out there, but he is certainly one of them. And look at how Scotty Scheffler just, blossomed in the last 2 years. With 4 victories and a major already. So I'm not going to say that's going to be Will Zalatoris, but you never know with some of these guys. Once they break through, it's boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can, because the gold medalist in Tokyo was Andrew Schauffele. It seems like he has that kind of game that you're talking about.
Yeah, and yet he hasn't been able to pull the trigger beyond the gold medal. I compared him to Tommy Fleetwood now. A couple years ago, Tommy Fleetwood was like the kind of, flavor of the week in majors, not the favorite, but a guy, keep your eye on Tommy Fleetwood. Well, that's kind of, he never has yet to do that and even been a serious contender. And we've seen Schauffele contend but not finish. And so until he does it, then yes, it might be the same type of thing. If he wins 1, he might win 3.
All right, how do you look at Tiger Woods so far? He's at 3 over for the championship, 1 under today so far.
Yeah, he just birdied. He looks better right now than he did yesterday. That being said, he got off to a good start yesterday. He was 2 under through the first 5 holes. Steve, I was saying this last night on my weekly golf radio show that compare the look after 18 holes in the first round at Augusta on the 18th green, that big smile. It was a look of satisfaction and accomplishment after all he had been through, to be able to play, to be able to finish, to shoot 71. He had a smile like he won the golf tournament. But that's the way he felt after one round at Augusta, after all he's been through, compared to the look yesterday after the way he finished. Looking, limping down the final two holes, making bogeys on each of the last two. You could see him reaching for his hip or his leg on a couple instances, bending his leg. It was an entirely different look, to the point that I thought, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he would WD. But, there he is out there. He's 1 under for the day. He's right there inside the cut line. And if he can, play even from there in, he'll be around. He'll be around on the weekend. So I mean, you could tell he's just really laboring out there. I'm honestly surprised he decided to play in the PGA. I thought for sure he would, take the extra time to get ready for the U.S. Open, and especially because he says he wants to play St. Andrews in the British. I'm just a little surprised he decided to play the PGA, but hey, he doesn't want to pass up on majors if he could go out there and walk, obviously.
Those may be the only 4 tournaments he plays this year.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I would imagine that's going to be it. I'm with you.
Yeah. When you look at the guys on the leaderboard right now, give me a name or two that at least bears watching that can at least make a run.
Yeah, I think Cam Smith bears watching.
I was about to ask you that, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no question. I think he's hanging there at 2 under, but there's no question about it. Another guy I don't think can win, but he's been playing really well lately, is Matthew Fitzpatrick. Yes. Xander Schauffele is capable of making a run like that. And if I had to pick a dark horse, look at Taylor Gooch sitting back there at 1 under. Yeah. He's another guy I would keep my eye on.
And you know what? Who's still in the thick of it? Right. And look, it's only midway through the second round. Stuart Sink is always around the neighborhood. Right? He's not going to win this thing, but it seems like he always is good enough to, you look at the board and go, oh, Stuart Sink, he's still playing?
Yeah, he's a guy. In fact, I was just watching him before. He had a nice iron shot in there for a birdie. And I thought, I thought the same thing. He's solid enough and good enough that, he'll hang right around 10 or 12, maybe get a top 10, certainly get a top 20. And there he is at age, 46 or whatever he is. And, he won twice last year. So, obviously he can still golf his ball.
And and 1 Open Championship to his credit, right?
Yeah. The one nobody wanted to see him win only because Stuart Sink is a great guy, wonderful guy. Yep. But that's the one where he beat Tom Watson, where everybody at age 59 wanted to see Tom Watson win.
It's interesting. I was watching Golf Channel last night, and David Faraday, and this interview goes back years with Jack Nicklaus. It was right after Watson had the tournament, and Watson was bemoaning that he won, and he said, Tom, at the age of 59, did anybody leave the British Open ever after round 1? He goes, no. After round 2, no. After round 3, no. He says, look, you caught a bad break. You had a bad shot. You hit a really good shot on 18. It just rolled off. He says, and you made the right play with the putter. You just hit it too far. Right? Yeah, it's easy for Nicklaus. He wasn't playing, but still.
Yeah, and that was the thing about that. He hit 2 wonderful shots on 18, a tremendous drive and a great approach, and it just ran through the green up against the caller. And, he couldn't hit 2 better shots under pressure, and, that's nothing new for him. And, it's a shame. And like I said, Stuart Sink is a great guy, but nobody wanted to see Stuart Sink win that tournament.
Yeah, nice cleric jug. Way to go. Should have gone to that guy. Yeah.
Right,
but that guy has 5. Okay. Gerry, always a pleasure. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see you soon.
Absolutely, Steve. And we got that. We have that Sunny Hannah date sitting out there somewhere, and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that to happen. Thanks so much, and look forward to it very much.
All right, Steve. Good chat with you as always.